You know, I'm good at a lot of things in games, but there are some things that I have to say that I'm not the best in. When it comes to either acting out of the way to get when I want to as soon as I want to, there's a lot of things I have to improve on, and I think that now would be a good time to acknowledge those facts. So, as a memento to the very first top 10 I will ever do, this is a list of the top 10 biggest mistakes I do or have ever made. One of the problems I tell both my friends and other people I see is that I have a lot of games to play and not enough time to play them. Oftentimes I'll be shoved into a game on the whim that someone says that the game is cool and they want to maybe have a few rounds in it. One example would be Civilization 5 that I got maybe about a few months back. After getting the game, I played, of course, like 1 or 2 matches with my friends, and then they just stopped playing it, which was, of course, a waste of $60 for me, and now it just sits in my inventory collecting dust. And as much as I hate to say it, that has happened with almost all of the games I have ever acquired, other than a few, most of them being ones that are actively updated, but ones that are just permanent releases just sit chilling in the dust. The next is a problem I had in my early childhood, but I've solved it since then, but it has of course been a reoccurring problem in my recent years, and that is the fact that there are a lot of people who go by the names of different fandoms, being it the Brony fandom or otherwise, that have out of the ordinary opinions about certain things, and of course, as it is in our blood, we have to make fun of what is not customary, and I think that now I realize that making fun of certain things that aren't the normal is not going to help anything, because if they weren't going to change before, your words aren't going to change them now. And, well, I guess them having what they like isn't that bad of a thing, so if you like fish eating chocolate, or you're one of those anime people, you do what you do, but I'll do what I do, and you won't bug what I do, and I won't bug what you do. One of the hardest things that comes with gaming is attempting to explain to someone how a game is good or bad. And as I've said in number 10, there's been a lot of people who have managed to convince me if a game is good or bad on a whim, just by telling me its strengths, its weaknesses, how the game plays, and I don't have the same zing that they do. I will often attempt to communicate how good a certain game is, but I might not do it in the most appealing or correct way, and sometimes, for instance, if I'm trying to communicate how one game is the same or slightly different, not a downgrade of another game, I may accidentally make the original game sound bad, which isn't what I'm aiming for. I have not been a very early riser to anything that comes in video games, and that mostly comes in part that I don't have a very stable point of video game income at the moment, and I probably won't for the next coming years. And that makes it so that when I do get a game, it's either tiring for the people who have already gotten it that I heard that say it's good. Of course, in the case of games like Elder Scrolls, I got that very late into the development period, so my friends had already finished it, no one wanted to talk about it. And the same happened with Left 4 Dead 2, got it in 2010 when it came out much earlier, and it just so happens that when a game is 4 years old and doesn't get updated that much, no one plays it, and it sucks when I come in late to have no avail to it. Knowing the setting you're in is often a very important part when it comes to being part of a community, being that you know when to be very serious with your friends or with your allies, or when you know that it's time to be the Relaxo Rancho engineer on the cliff. And oftentimes I've come to the point where for instance, League of Legends ranked battles, I will often get on a very joking mood and start acting very friendly towards my teammates, and that doesn't actually get them to like me. Of course, since they're all in a competitive environment, hearing these words isn't going to encourage them, it's often a distraction, or it gets them angry because they think I'm not concentrating on the battle. And the inverse can be said true. If I'm on, say, a fun server and I'm trying to get better than the person who got a domination on me, that kind of ruins the fun for the people who want to, say, just go take out their chairs and have a nice time. One of the things that comes across in a lot of the games I play, specifically Hearthstone, is that I can't help but make fun, or not make fun, just hate on other types of players. Especially when I'm going up to that casual, I want to test out this cool new priest deck with Shadow Form and all this. It's going to be really cool, and I just queue up against Hunter. And even before I fight him, I know he's got the gnomes, I know he's got the huffers, and I know he's going to kill me on turn 7 with nothing I can do. And I can't help but say to Samuel when I'm talking to him, or not just Samuel, other people in my friends list, that hunters are stupid, and that they're unfair, and that they just ruin the game as a whole. And I am not alone in this. A lot of people complain that a lot of classes are not fun for the game or not productive. And of course, I don't think that that is going to help anything. Those decks are existing for a reason, because we as control players, I know I'm a control player, I know I am annoying to, say, mid-range players who I destroy. And when a mid-range player comes up against Mr. Magni and they realize that he's not Grim Patron Warrior, they get a little mad. I will not say that's not true. And it's kind of sad to say that the game, lots of games can't have every deck type be this fun experience. There's always going to be the guy who you fight who you know isn't going to be a fun one. Speaking of Hearthstone, this is one of the biggest problems I've had since when I've started gaming. Ever since I started doing stuff, I've always wanted to get to the top in whatever game I played. I wanted to get the Burning Team Captain. I've wanted to get to that Challenger. I've wanted to get to Legend Rank, get that card back, show my friends that I have managed to achieve greatness in games. And oftentimes when I play one game for an extended period of time, I will lose motivation. It will start to get boring to me. If I play, say, Hearthstone on ranked and start doing match after match after match of playing the same deck, it gets very boring. It gets stressful because I know that if I lose, I could jeopardize what I've done the entire day, and that just makes it so that I don't really want to continue on, even though I want to. Those end up never going on, and I think I need to realize that I need to either suck it up and move on, or I need to stop trying, but that's something I'm going to have to work on. One of the biggest problems I've had in most modern multiplayer games is that I will often act on a sudden urge or a new item. For instance, when I was going to construct Control Warrior in Hearthstone, I said to myself, well, I'm going to get Harrison Jones, because there's a lot of hunters, and I want to be able to stop them with their eagle horn bows doing too much damage to my Control Warrior face. So I crafted Harrison. 3 weeks later, I DE'd him for Growmatch because I wanted to complete the deck. I could have crafted Growmatch at that exact point. I didn't have to DE Harrison. I could have waited 10 days or gotten 10 packs to get the 400 dust to get the gold worth or dust worth that I could get to craft Mr. Growmatch and still have Harrison. But I will always DE Harrison to get Growmatch sooner, because I am just, whenever I see that thing that I want, I will go by whatever means. For instance, I worked up to an unusual hat in Team Fortress 2. I believe it was an Industrial Festivizer with green energy. And that was when the stream of updates came out, where I would say, take that unusual, and I trade it down to that new thing that wasn't as good, but it just seemed cool at the time. So I would say, want to buy that strange festive huntsman that looked really cool, and then that strange festive huntsman wasn't worth as much, so I couldn't buy it back. And then I sold it for maybe like 18 keys, and then I got Conga and all this, and it just keeps going down and down. And now without having bought anything after playing Team Fortress 2 for over 2,000 hours. All I have to show for it is a few items for the engineer and then an all-class set. It's not the best. Thank you for watching the first instance of Top 10. I know it wasn't the best, I know it was kind of depressing near at the end, but I feel that it was a good load to get off the chest. And I would like to thank you for watching. I know it's not the most heavily edited video, I don't have the software to get it. I promise I will try and get editing software soon so I can get actual gameplay footage instead of blank images behind this. And I would like all of you to like, comment, and subscribe, and most of all, share this so that I know that people are watching this channel and that it is growing to its full strength. If more people are on the channel and physically watching, that will give me more motivation to want to produce videos faster and possibly make this channel much bigger than it is today. Thank you and have a good day.